Hey everyone, what's up? My name is Ronder, aka Alex, and I'm very excited to present to you today the LSBA Season 3 Week 1 matchup between the Seattle Staraptors and the Tukwila Tentaquils. This video is going to be a little longer up front than those going forward, though, because I'm going to take a couple of minutes to explain what the LSBA is, and why we're just now able to broadcast it on YouTube. So, first off, the LSBA stands for the Lick Stevens Battle Association, which is a local draft-based competitive Pokemon league that several of my friends and I have been running annually during the summer for the past few years. Our inspiration for this league was the popular Global Battle Association league that many well-known PokeTubers have been doing for the past several years, and whom we borrowed many of our upstart rules and ideas from. We started the LSBA 2 years ago during the summer of 2014 with just 8 startup teams: the Detroit Donphans, the Denver Disco Daves, the Everett Tropius, the Florida Feraligators, the Galapagos Garchomps, the New Guinea Gudras, the Rock'em Sock'em Rotoms, and my team, the Seattle Staraptors. Last year, during the second season, we greatly expanded the league, doubling the number of teams up to 16, including the Tukwila Tentaquils, King County Crawdonts, Crimson Crusaders, the Voluptuous Venusaurs, the Silverdale Bros, the Portland Polytoads, the Port Angeles Teddiursas, and the Mysterious Missing Nose. We also spent time establishing our first official rule set, including things like trades and saving battle videos, as well as more accurately tracking player stats. Finally, we're in our third season with further developed rules, and still 16 teams, although a few new teams have been included. Starting this year, we're introducing the Adna Agrons, the Aldehyde Aegislashes, the Wenatchee Wobbuffets, the Turned Up Tyrantrums, and Team Swagnomite. Specifically this year, we're super happy to have Chaz from Chaz Baz Gaming joining our roster as the coach of the Aldehyde Aegislashes. It's completely thanks to him that we're able to post LSBA battles to YouTube for the first time. He is our first member who's owned a capture card for the 3DS and was willing to film our matches this season, so to him we offer huge thanks. Please be sure to check out his channel, a link will be in the description. He will be uploading all of his LSBA matches this summer, in addition to other great gaming content. All of that aside, let's get into the match finally. So, going into this match, my thoughts are straight up, I'm going to get the snot beaten out of me, just simply because Sean, the coach of the Tentaquils, is a very, very good battler. Every time we play, it's a struggle, and also he was the league champion last year, so there's that. So my overall strategy this week is to set up some rocks and maybe Tailwind with Aerodactyl, who's my standard lead here, then try and wreak as much havoc as possible with Natsu and Gray, my Char-X and Cloyster, to try and set up a late game sweep with Staraptor. The ideology behind this is that Staraptor is able to 2-hit KO pretty much everything on his entire 11-mon roster except for the fattest variants of Garchomp, Landorus, Clefable, and Scizor. Cloyster can pretty easily handle the Ice Weak ones, Garchomp and Landorus, both 4 times weak to Ice, especially after a Shell Smash, and Charizard handles both Scizor and Clefable pretty well, so they're being used essentially as wall breakers to set up for Staraptor. If anything else gets in the way, run them over, is essentially the strategy here. Excadrill is mostly here for spitting, since like half my team or more is weak to rocks, and so that's not good, so we definitely need to keep those off the field. And Jirachi's main job here is to late game pass a Healing Wish off to something, especially Staraptor or Charizard since they hit themselves with Recoil a lot, to give them a second chance at running more of the opposing team over. Team preview, I was super happy to see that 3 of his 5 Ice Weak Pokemon showed up, Landorus, Garchomp, Latias, and so that gives me hope that Cloyster will be able to do a lot of work here. Also, Scizor and Clefable are here as expected, so that should be plenty doable for Charizard to KO. And of course Entei, who, when preparing for this match, I saw as the biggest threat to my team, since my team pretty neatly hits the 100 speed cap, just overall, Aerodactyl being the exception. And so if this was a Scarfed Entei, I was pretty much terrified, since only Staraptor on my team who is also Scarfed would outspeed it. If it was Banded or a different item, it's more doable, just simply because it doesn't outrun everything. However, Extreme Speed still hurts a lot. Sacred Fire, like, 2 of my things are weak to fire, and Cloyster's neutral, Staraptor's neutral, so that's not so good, so the Entei was a big threat. But, however, we're gonna try and wear it down anyways and see what kind of damage we can do to it. Okay, so as mentioned, we're going to lead off Aerodactyl here as he leads off Caesar. Here I'm kind of wishing that I had Fire Blast on Aerodactyl like I carry a lot, but all in all I decided to carry Stone Edge for the Entei. I don't wish to just take a Bullet Punch for free though, so I switch right on out to Charizard, who will be able to take the incoming Bullet Punch a lot harder. Caesar is actually a Mega Caesar, since regular Caesar is on a different team this season, so he goes ahead and Megas that, and ends up using Knockoff actually, which I guess luckily Charizard is my Mega, so it didn't take as much damage from that, but it still hurt. Here I'm just going to fire off a Fire Blast to try and kill the Caesar, but he smartly switches out into his Landorus, which intimidates me. But as we're going to see, we quickly find out that this is not a defensive Landorus, it's actually an offensive set. Just because even at -1, this Flare Blitz does ridiculous damage. This is why I love Charizard X, it's just so good. Takes it down to 2/3 or something, or does 2/3 damage to it. It does have leftovers, however, so that's interesting. But, so here, I decided to switch out, just in case. Well, actually I don't know. I didn't see the leftovers in-game, so I thought it might have been Choice Scarfed. But he decides to just hard switch out too. I go into Aerodactyl here, though, to have a second chance at trying to set up. Here he throws out Clefable, so I just go ahead and taunt it, because we don't want none of your nonsense, Clefable. No, I only want my nonsense, and sure enough, it tries to T-Wave me. So here I'm going to throw up Rocks, which is pretty much Aerodactyl's main job. Rocks are nice. It's going to go ahead and bop me with the Moonblast here, but it doesn't do that much damage. It gets the special attack drop, which isn't a big deal, because I'm a support Aerodactyl anyways and not trying to hit it. Since it's going for Moonblast though, I decided to go out to Gajiel, my Excadrill, to try and threaten it out and get damage off on something. I mean, it's going to hit me with the Moonblast, which we're going to see actually crits me, which is unfortunate, and gets the special attack drop again, but that's fun. Here I'm just going to go for an Iron Head, because I figured that the Landorus might come out. It turns out that going for an Earthquake would have been better, but I also didn't want to miss the KO on the Clefable. Unfortunately, I am Scarfed though, so I'm going to be locked into Iron Head here, but I decided to just keep going for it because I really don't want to sock anything else off to this Caesar, and at this point it doesn't look like he's going to be able to get rocks up very easily, so I go ahead and just sack off my Excadrill here, which is kind of unfortunate, but not the end of the world. He gets another crit, which obviously doesn't matter here, so it's not a big deal. So here I'm going to throw in my Charizard again, and I'm just going for kills. Like, the Caesar is a big problem, so even if he Bullet Punched me and I died from Flare Blitz recoil, I was willing to do that at this point. However, he decides to preserve his Caesar and goes out to Clefable anyways, which again, as discussed earlier, is actually one of the targets for my Charizard. This Flare Blitz does crazy damage, and we live on 1, which is actually beautiful, because as mentioned, preserving Charizard at 1 HP is actually great here, because I can Healing Wish it up later. Here I go for a Thunder Punch just to take the Clefable out, and my Charizard's sitting at 1 HP, which is beautiful. He's going to throw the Caesar back in to try and bop me with Bullet Punch, but at this point I'm pretty content to preserve my Charizard, because it can still do work later. I actually switch out into my Aerodactyl here just to sack it off. The Bullet Punch is obviously coming, but I'd rather lose Aerodactyl than Charizard, just because Charizard is so powerful and can do so much work. Here I'm going to go into Staraptor actually, a little earlier than I wanted to, but the Caesar is being really annoying, and so getting a free Brave Bird off on something is going to be great. So he's going to actually preserve the Caesar and switch out into Garchomp, and so I'm going to do a lot of damage. Here though is where I make the first mistake of many on the following turn. So at this point I completely space out that I don't take Rocky Helmet damage, and also that Garchomp's Electro runs Choice Scarf. So instead of switching out, I decided to stay in and find out that the Garchomp is also Choice Scarfed, and it cleanly takes me out with Rock Slide, which sucks a lot. Staraptor was supposed to do so much work for me, and I just sack it off by accident. Here's another really stupid play. Instead of going on to Jirachi to force it out with an Ice Punch like I should have, I decided to switch Gray in to try and get a Shell Smash off, because I knew that I could take a Rock Slide, but he flinches me. So that was really unfortunate. Here I stay in to try and kill it with Icicle Spear, but it 2-hit KOs me with a slightly higher damage roll than the first one. So at this point I'm pretty much hurting. I throw Jirachi in like I should have in the first place, but at this point it's too late. I'm down to just Jirachi and my 1 HP Charizard, so that sucks. I fire off an Ice Punch just to see if the Garchomp will maybe stay in to try and flinch me again, but it doesn't. It switches out. So I get pity damage off on this Entei with a resisted non-stab resisted Ice Punch. It doesn't freeze, but it doesn't matter anyways, it's a fire type with Sacred Fire. So at this point my only chance to try and preserve my differential a little bit is to kill myself with Jirachi and try and pick up another kill or two with Charizard. So I go ahead and do that. I dodge the Sacred Fire, which would have killed me anyways. Won the speed actually no, I'm Jolly, so I didn't win the speed tie, I was just faster. I go back out into Charizard. Now, of course, at this point my only chance is to try and get a Dragon Dance off and go for just a boosted Charizard sweep. But unfortunately, it turns out that he's not choiced at all, because he just goes for Bulldoze. So that's really unfortunate. It doesn't do too much damage, but my fast Charizard is now no longer fast. And also, I'm an Adamant Charizard instead of Jolly, which I should be, so he outspeeds me this time as we go for that speed tie that I discussed earlier. And I'm likely able to take the Entei out to get a second kill, but unfortunately at this point he has a lot of faster stuff on his team that can come in and just take me out with ease. Like the Caesar, for example. So the Caesar is going to come in and unfortunately just bullet punch me to take out my Charizard. So, all in all, this wasn't a super strong start to my season. This is only the first week out of 10, so there's still time to make it up, but I unfortunately take a an 0-4 loss to the Tukwila Tentaquils. So I'm totally aware of the fact that I lost way too many Pokemon in this match, just partially because of not realizing that Garchomps like to run Scarf. I should know that, I play a lot of OU, but I was really expecting it to be a slower, tanky set, which it wasn't. And then also throwing away my Cloyster for free essentially was really bad. I should have just gone down to Jirachi there, so that was my own bad play. The Rock Slide flinch was unfortunate, but ultimately that was my own fault. Anyways, that was a great Week 1 battle, and I hope everybody will stick around to watch my Week 2 match against the Florida for Alligators, longtime friend Rodney, next week. Hopefully I can come back with a vengeance. See you around.